Most people believe an oil change automatically protects their engine, but the truth is far more surprising. A single overlooked step can slowly destroy an engine from the inside without the driver ever noticing. The good news? It's completely preventable, and it only takes a few minutes before your next drain. Start by removing your oil filler cap and looking closely inside the filler neck. What you see here is like an X-ray of your engine's health. If the underside of the cap is coated with a brown or tan, mayonnaise-like sludge, that's moisture contamination. It means your engine isn't reaching full operating temperature often enough to evaporate condensation. Short trips, cold starts, and stop-and-go driving are quietly breaking down your oil long before it can do its job. If you spot thick, black, sticky varnish, the problem is even worse. That's oxidized oil, a sign your oil is breaking down under heat and leaving behind carbon deposits. Ignore it long enough and sludge will block passages, starve the engine of lubrication, and eventually cause catastrophic failure. Catch these signs early, correct the underlying issues, and your engine won't just survive, it can last 2 to 3 times longer than expected. Between changes, music probably from extended intervals or severe driving conditions. Before your oil change, inspect that cap. If you see contamination, address the root cause before putting fresh oil in. Clean the cap and filler neck thoroughly so contaminants don't wash into your fresh oil when you add it. A clean oil filler system ensures your fresh oil stays clean from the moment you pour it in. But the filler neck is just one overlooked inspection point. 14. Check your dipstick tube for sludge. Pull your dipstick all the way out and look at the tube opening. Use a flashlight to look down inside as far as you can see. What you're looking for is sludge buildup on the tube walls. If your dipstick tube has sludge coating the inside, your entire engine has sludge. That sludge will contaminate your fresh oil immediately after the change. You need to address it before adding new oil. 2 months ago, a rideshare driver brought in his 2017 Toyota Camry with 156,000 miles. He'd been religious about oil changes every 5,000 miles. But when I pulled his dipstick, the tube was coated with thick sludge. How does this happen with regular changes, short trips? He did exclusively city driving, 3 to 5 mile trips, dozens per day. The engine never got hot enough to burn off condensation and contaminants. Check your dipstick tube before every oil change. If you see sludge, plan multiple flush cycles with short intervals. Don't put fresh oil into a sludged engine and expect it to stay clean. But even a clean dipstick tube can't help if your drain plug is compromised. Quick reminder, if you're learning preventive steps that could save your engine, hit that subscribe button now. 13. Inspect your drain plug and crush washer. This seems basic, but it's critical. Before you drain oil, inspect your drain plug and its sealing washer. A damaged drain plug or worn washer can cause leaks that waste your fresh oil and create a mess. Look at the threads on your drain plug. Are they damaged, stripped? If so, repair the threads with a helicoil before the oil change. Don't wait until you're draining hot oil to discover your threads are stripped. Check the crush washer or gasket. Many shops reuse the same washer multiple times. That's wrong. The washer is designed to crush once and seal. Reusing it creates a leak path. Always use a new washer with every oil change. Yesterday, a nurse from Denver brought in her 2019 Subaru Outback with oil spots in her driveway. She'd had an oil change 2 weeks prior at a quick lube place. The drain plug was weeping oil. I removed the drain plug. The crush washer had been reused so many times it was completely flattened. No sealing capability left. She'd lost about half a quart of expensive synthetic oil from that slow leak. We installed a proper new crush washer. Cost $2, but that $2 washer saved her $35 oil and prevented potential engine damage from running low. But this next step is what 99% of people skip, and it changes everything. 12. Check your oil level before you schedule. Here's something nobody thinks about. You need to know your oil level and condition at least a week before your scheduled oil change. Why? Because what you discover might change everything. Pull your dipstick right now. Is the oil at the full mark? Half a quart low? A full quart low? If you're low on oil, that tells you something critical is happening inside your engine. Here's what to look for. If you're losing more than half a quart between changes, you have an issue that needs diagnosis. Don't just keep adding oil. Find out why it's disappearing. Also, check the color. Is it black and opaque? That's normal after several thousand miles. Is it milky or has a chocolate milk appearance? That's coolant mixing with oil. You have a head gasket or cooler leak. That's a $2,400 repair that'll get worse if ignored. Checking oil level and condition a week before your change gives you time to address problems instead of discovering them when it's too late. But the level is just the beginning of what you need to check first. 11. Drive your car hard for 20 minutes. This sounds backwards, but hear me out. 2 days before your oil change, take your car on a 20-minute drive and get the engine good and hot. I mean highway driving at 3,000 plus RPM for at least 15 minutes. Why? Because heat suspends contaminants in the oil. Sludge, varnish, and deposits that have settled get stirred up when the oil gets hot and circulates vigorously. You want all that garbage suspended in the oil when you drain it, not stuck to your engine. A friend of mine is a Toyota technician. He told me about a customer who always changed oil first thing Saturday morning before driving anywhere. The car sat overnight. Oil was cold and thick. Contaminants had settled. Every oil change was draining relatively clean oil from the bottom while leaving contaminated deposits stuck throughout the engine. By 80,000 miles, the engine had significant sludge buildup despite regular oil changes. Compare that to customers who drive to the dealership for oil changes. The engine is hot, oil is thin and moving. Contaminants are suspended. The drain removes more contamination because it's floating in the oil, not stuck to metal surfaces. Independent testing shows that draining hot oil removes up to 40% more contaminants than draining cold oil. That's substantial. Over the life of your engine, that difference could mean 100,000 extra miles. So 2 days before your scheduled change, take a spirited highway drive. Get the oil hot. Get everything circulating. You're preparing the oil to carry out maximum contamination when it drains, but getting the oil hot is only half the preparation. 10. Add engine flush, but do it right. Engine flush additives are controversial. Some mechanics swear by them. Others say they're unnecessary or even harmful. Here's the truth. Used correctly at the right time, engine flush can remove years of deposits that regular oil changes miss. The key phrase is used correctly. Most people add flush, idle for 5 minutes, then drain. That's wrong. That doesn't give the chemicals time to work on hardened deposits. Here's the proper procedure. Add engine flush to your current oil when the oil is at least 2,000 miles old, but not more than 1,000 miles from your next change. Drive normally for 100 to 200 meters. This gives the detergents time to penetrate and dissolve deposits slowly. But here's the warning. Never use engine flush in an engine that's already severely sludged. If an engine hasn't been maintained, aggressive flush can dislodge chunks of sludge that clog oil passages and cause catastrophic failure. On neglected engines, multiple gentle flush cycles with short intervals is safer. Engine flush done right cleans what oil changes can't reach, but you need to prepare the filter system too. 9. Replace your oil filter early. Here's a trick almost nobody knows. If your engine has heavy deposits or you're doing an aggressive cleaning, replace the oil filter halfway through the flush cycle. Why? Because engine flush dissolves deposits that get trapped in your filter. A filter clog with dissolved sludge can't flow properly. It goes into bypass mode, allowing unfiltered oil to circulate. That defeats the entire purpose of flushing. Last week, a teacher brought in her 2018 Honda CR-V for what she thought would be a routine oil change. I recommended a flush cycle because the oil looked contaminated. She agreed. We added flush at 5,800 meters on her current oil. After 150 miles of driving, I had her come back. We replaced just the filter. The filter we removed was packed with dissolved deposits, completely saturated. We installed a fresh filter and had her drive another 150 miles. Then we did the complete oil change. The second filter came out much cleaner because we'd already captured the bulk of dissolved contamination with the first filter. Her CRV ran noticeably smoother after the two-stage flush with mid-cycle filter replacement. We pulled more contamination out of that engine than a standard oil change would have caught in 5 years. If you're doing a flush cycle, plan to replace the filter partway through. It maximizes contamination removal, but the filter is just one part. The next step is what mechanics call the silent engine killer. 8. Clean your PCV system. The positive crankcase ventilation system, the most neglected maintenance item on modern engines, and it directly affects oil life and contamination. A clogged PCV valve can reduce oil life by 50% or more. Fresh oil gets contaminated almost immediately because blowy gases are trapped in the crankcase instead of being vented. 2 months ago, a college student brought in his 2016 Mazda 3. He was changing oil every 3,000 miles with full synthetic, but the oil turned black within 1,000 miles. Something was contaminating it rapidly. Diagnosis: completely clogged PCV valve and hose. Crankcase pressure was forcing blowy gases to stay in the oil instead of venting. We replaced the PCV valve, $28, and cleaned the hoses. His next oil change, the oil stayed amber-colored for over $4,000. Same engine, same oil, just a functioning PCV system. That $28 part made his $65 synthetic oil changes last twice as long. Before your next oil change, inspect your PCV system, remove the valve, and shake it. You should hear a rattle. That's the check valve moving. No rattle, it's clogged. Replace it. Check the hoses for restrictions. Many engines have PCV hoses that collapse internally from age. They look fine outside, but are blocked inside. Replace any questionable hoses. A clean PCV system keeps fresh oil clean longer and prevents pressure-related oil leaks. But even clean oil can't protect an engine that's not getting proper fuel delivery. 7. Check and clean your MAF sensor. This seems unrelated to oil changes, but stick with me. Your mass airflow sensor tells the engine computer how much air is entering. If the MAF is dirty, the computer gets false readings and adjusts the fuel mixture incorrectly. Too much fuel means incomplete combustion. Incomplete combustion means excess fuel washing down cylinder walls into your oil. That fuel dilutes the oil, reducing viscosity and protection. Last month, a taxi driver brought in his 2018 Toyota Camry. The oil was breaking down rapidly. Oil analysis showed 5.2% fuel dilution. Way too high. We needed to find why fuel was getting into the oil. We checked the MAF sensor. It was coated with dirt and oil film. A dirty MAF was causing rich fuel mixture, which meant excess fuel in the cylinders, which meant fuel dilution in the oil. We cleaned the MAF sensor with proper MAF cleaner, not brake cleaner, which can damage the sensing element. After cleaning, we reset the fuel trims and did an oil change. His next oil analysis showed fuel dilution under 1% normal levels. The oil stayed cleaner and lasted longer. At $8, can of MAF cleaner prevented ongoing oil contamination. Before your oil change, clean your MAF sensor. It ensures your fresh oil stays uncontaminated by excess fuel. But air system cleaning is only half the equation. Drop a comment below. When was the last time you cleaned your MAF sensor? I bet most of you have never even thought about it. 6. Perform a fuel system treatment. Your fuel injectors spray fuel into your engine. When they're dirty, the spray pattern becomes irregular. Instead of a fine mist, you get streams and drips. This incomplete atomization leads to incomplete combustion. Incomplete combustion means unburned fuel. Where does that fuel go? Past the piston rings into your oil. It dilutes the oil and creates contamination that accelerates wear. Cleaning your fuel system before an oil change ensures your fresh oil doesn't immediately get contaminated with fuel blowy from dirty injectors. Add a quality fuel system treatment to a full tank of gas about 100 meters before your oil change. Drive those miles to let the cleaner work through the system. Your injectors will spray cleaner, combustion will be more complete, and your fresh oil will stay cleaner. but fuel system cleaning won't help if your engine temperature isn't right. 5. Verify your thermostat is working. An engine that doesn't reach proper operating temperature can't burn fuel completely. It runs rich. That rich mixture means excess fuel getting past rings into the oil. A stuck open thermostat keeps your engine cool. That sounds safe, but it's actually terrible for oil life. Cold engines create contamination that hot engines burn off. Before your next oil change, verify your engine reaches full operating temperature. Watch your temperature gauge during a drive. It should reach the normal range and stay there. If your engine runs cool, replace its thermostat before changing oil. Fresh oil in a cool-running engine will just get contaminated quickly. A $40 thermostat protects your $65 oil change investment. Proper temperature ensures clean combustion, but you also need to verify the cooling system isn't contaminating your oil. 4. Pressure test your cooling system. Coolant leaking internally into your engine is one of the most expensive contamination problems. A head gasket leak or cracked head can allow coolant to mix with oil. That creates a mayonnaise-like emulsion that destroys bearing surfaces. You can't always see coolant leaks. Some leaks are internal and only show up under pressure. Before an oil change is the perfect time to pressure test the cooling system. Yesterday, a realtor brought in her 2017 Mazda CX-5 for routine maintenance. During the pre-oil change inspection, I noticed her coolant was low but saw no external leaks. We pressure tested the cooling system. It wouldn't hold pressure. Something was leaking internally. We did a combustion gas test on the coolant. Positive. Exhaust gases were getting into the cooling system. The diagnosis: head gasket starting to fail. Not fully blown yet, but beginning to leak. Oil analysis confirmed trace amounts of coolant in the oil. She had two options: fix it now for $1,800 or wait until it failed completely and risk catastrophic engine damage plus a $4,500 repair. She fixed it immediately. We caught the problem before it destroyed the engine. If we just changed the oil without testing, the coolant contamination would have continued. Within 5,000 miles, she probably would have needed a complete engine. Pressure testing before an oil change can catch problems while they're still repairable. It's a 10-minute test that can save thousands, but even a perfect cooling system can't compensate for neglected ignition maintenance. 3. Check your spark plugs. Bad spark plugs cause incomplete combustion. Incomplete combustion means unburned fuel. Unburned fuel gets past the rings and dilutes your oil. It's the same pattern we keep seeing. Many manufacturers now recommend 100,000 miles spark plug intervals. That's too long for real-world conditions. By 60,000 miles, most plugs show enough wear to affect combustion quality. A Toyota service advisor told me about a customer with a 2018 RAV4. The owner followed the maintenance schedule religiously. That schedule said spark plugs at 120,000 miles. By 85,000 miles, the car was consuming oil and running rough. Oil analysis showed high fuel dilution. We pulled the spark plugs. Every plug was severely worn with gaps nearly double the specification. Those worn plugs weren't firing efficiently. Combustion was incomplete. Fuel was getting into the oil. The contaminated fuel diluted oil was causing accelerated wear and oil consumption. We replaced the plugs at 85,000 miles. Instead of waiting for 120,000 within one oil change cycle, oil consumption dropped significantly. The fuel dilution disappeared. The engine ran smooth again. The lesson? Don't trust extended spark plug intervals. Before your next oil change, pull one plug and inspect it. If the gap has widened more than 0.005 in from spec, replace all the plugs. Fresh spark plugs ensure complete combustion. Complete combustion means clean oil that lasts longer and protects better. But perfect combustion can't fix oil that's already contaminated from short trips. 2. Take a long highway drive. We mentioned driving hard before draining oil, but this is different. This is about burning off moisture and contamination that accumulates from short trip driving. The solution? Before your oil change, take at least one long highway drive. I'm talking 30 to 45 minutes of sustained highway speed. This gets the oil hot enough to boil off moisture and burn off light contamination. A fleet manager for a delivery company told me they implemented a policy. Every vehicle drives at least 20 miles on the highway the day before scheduled maintenance. Just that one policy change extended average engine life by 35,000 miles across their fleet. Why? Because that highway drive evaporates moisture, burns off acids, and prepares the oil to drain cleanly. The fresh oil goes into a dry, clean engine instead of one contaminated with moisture and acids. One 45-minute highway drive before your oil change can remove more moisture than 5 regular oil changes. It's free, takes less than an hour, and can add years to your engine life. Comment below. Do you change your oil hot or cold? I'm reading every single response, but everything we've covered means nothing if you make this final critical mistake. 1. Never change oil when the engine is cold. This is the most important step that almost everyone gets wrong. You absolutely must change oil when the engine is hot, not warm. Hot fully at operating temperature. When oil is cold, it's thick. Contaminants settle to the bottom. Sludge sticks to surfaces. A cold drain leaves behind a significant amount of contaminated oil and deposits that just mix with your fresh oil. When oil is hot, it's thin and flows fast. Contaminants are suspended in the oil. Sludge is loosened. A hot drain removes dramatically more contamination. A mechanic friend did an experiment. He drained oil from identical engines, one cold, one hot. He measured the volume and contamination of each drain. The cold drain removed about 80% of the oil volume and 60% of the contamination. The hot drain removed 90% of the oil volume and 85% of the contamination. That difference accumulates over 10 oil changes. The cold drain engine retains far more contamination than the hot drain engine. That contamination causes accelerated wear. If you change your own oil, always drive first. Get the engine fully hot, then drain immediately while it's hot. The extra contamination removal can add 100,000 miles to engine life. If a shop changes your oil, drive to the shop. Don't let your car sit overnight and get cold. The drive to the shop is part of the maintenance process. Hot oil changes remove more contamination, period. It's the single most important step you can take to maximize the benefit of every oil change. That's it. You just learned 15 things to do before your next oil change that can literally double your engine's lifespan. Start with step 1. Never change cold oil. It's free and it's the most powerful step on this list. Everything on this list works together. Clean PCV system keeps oil clean. Clean MAF prevents fuel dilution. Proper temperature ensures complete combustion. Hot drains remove maximum contamination. If you learned even one new thing today about maximizing your oil changes, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more real-world car advice that actually matters and could add 100,000 meters to your engine. There's a video on your screen right now. Click it now on the left and I'll meet you there with information that could save you $4,800 in repairs.